All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, Chris Control. We are live from the 704 once again for episode 248 of the A15 Exchange. And well, it was a week in combat sports. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and act like it was some crazy thrill. I mean, listen, maybe, and unfortunately, because I do have to record this on a Sunday, we are missing out on a lot of the things that are happening tonight, like the monster fighting. All right, and he might be able to save the weekend. Maybe by the time you're watching this, he did save the weekend, but it was a week. All right, the UFC Fight Night card was actually good. All right, I'll give it that. But otherwise, it was a week. We'll talk about it to kick us off. We've got NHL playoffs, round one, over with. Let's talk about what's going on in round two, besides that Winnipeg and St. Louis game, which we'll also talk about. Same thing in the NBA. Round two matchup set up, but we do got to talk about Houston Golden State. That's coming on tonight. You'll know what happened, but you'll get my prediction here. All right, and I got a few. I told you so was coming up. All right, I got when I'm right, I gotta let it ring. All right, we got the Miami Grand Prix. We got Champions League semifinals, first leg to talk about. We've got Thunderbolts to talk about. So it is a jam-packed episode. So as always, remember to like, share, and subscribe if you guys are enjoying the content. And as always, all right, as always, everything you're looking for can be found in my description, timestamps. If you're looking for whatever, skip ahead. All right, it's there. Or if you whatever. All right, it's there. It's there waiting for you. In my description, also embedded in the video, also my social media links in the outro in the description. But like I said, we got a lot to attend to today, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get to the negatives here. All right, let's talk about combat sports first. Let's get that out of the way. Okay? Let's just get this out of the way, particularly the boxing aspect, because it was horrid. What should have been one of the biggest, all right? And if you'd have asked me this, and told me about this card 4 years ago, I'd have been like, yo, this is a historic card, right? In Times Square, outdoors. You've got 3 of the 4 princes of boxing. Like, I would have been like, yo, this must be a moment in time. And this is a moment we're going to want to forget in boxing time, honestly, if we haven't already. It was horrible. From the atmosphere of the event, since spectators had to, it couldn't just be random people walking around Times Square. So the environment was just dead and weird. And then the actual boxing was terrible. From 3 of what was supposed to be the guys that are now the face of the franchise in boxing, now it was absolutely terrible. Starting from the main event as we do, Rolly Romero beat Ryan Garcia, which honestly I'm not really surprised about. I don't know what Ryan is. I just think he's always going to be this incomplete prospect. He's always going to be this what if. What if he had found the right coach to actually, or what if Ryan had the focus to harness his raw talent to become a great world champion? That is always going to be the question with Ryan Garcia. It's crazy because he's 26. And I'm saying this like he's washed, but I'm gonna be honest, he doesn't have it anymore. The magic, it's not there anymore. This was a horrible, I don't know why he went to back to Derek James, in the first place. But this was easy work for Raleigh, relatively speaking. He dropped him, which I wasn't surprised about. And yeah, it was a horrible game plan for Ryan. He fought weird. He didn't throw the one get out of jail free card. One of the greatest punches, moves he has in all of combat sports today is his left hook. And it got blocked once and he didn't throw it. Credit to Raleigh, I guess, for the defensive and then rocking Ryan so Ryan was scared of getting KO'd. But you got the one get out of jail free card. The one thing that, as horrible as your technique can be, or as bad as you can be fighting, can unleash hell on your opponent, and you didn't use it. You didn't use it. So I don't know. Feels like we're reaching the end of the line here, Ryan Garcia. Because mediocre performance. Raleigh gets a win. Raleigh did what he had to do, so credit where credit's due. Devin Haney continues to be one of the most unlikable fighters, and not even in like a good heel way. His dad sucks. Bill Haney sucks. It's one thing to be the possessive parent trying to live through your son thing when your son is that guy. Dev, I'm still waiting to be that guy. I mean, the chain was dancing, but he wasn't doing too much in the ring. I mean, 70 punches combined between Jose and him and Jose Ramirez is, I mean, doing what people know Devin Haney. When people come to watch a Devin Haney fight, they bring a pillow and a blanket because this is what they came here to do. He is the melatonin pill. He is the melatonin drink. He is going to put you to sleep. He's NyQuil. And not because he's got NyQuil in his fist. It's because he's got NyQuil in his performance. I'm not hearing your great boxing IQ, your great whatever jab, or you're this great defensive mind in the mold of Mayweather. No, you're just not that guy. You're just not that guy. Another mediocre snooze fest from Devin. Now let's move down the line. Tio, honestly, I guess Tio by default had the best performance of the three. Did what had to be done against Barboza, but it was nothing crazy. Wasn't like prime Tio. Listen, I'm sick. I'm sick for what should have been a golden era for boxing, or another one, should I say. What was supposed to be three of the biggest stars of the new age, and this is what we have. These three are supposed to be the future and present currently now at their age of boxing, and this is what we have. I'm done talking about him. I'm done talking about him. Terrible. One of the worst cards in the history of the sport. No exaggeration. It was terrible. Absolutely putrid. Putrid for the hype. Putrid. Turkey wasted his money, and I know he's got an unlimited pocketbook being with the Saudis, but it was a waste of money anyway. Alright, terrible, terrible boxing. And it continued with the second fight of the Fatal Fury game promotion tactic thing, Canelo versus Skull, and this one isn't really even on Canelo, even though Canelo didn't really do too much of anything in this fight. Not his fight. I don't know why he was fighting Skull in the first place, who probably didn't deserve this fight, who fought like a coward the entire time. Alright, just a horrible, just don't hit me performance. Just wanted, I guess, to say I made it 12 rounds with Canelo and lived. Like that's how he fought. Like, I survived. He fought like one of those, I don't know, you put me in there with like a tiger and I'm just trying to make it out. He didn't fight to win, he didn't fight to do nothing, he just fought to collect his check and not get beat up too bad. That's literally it. It was horrible, horrible boxing. Fatal Fury, disgraceful. Absolutely disgraceful row of performance and back-to-back nights for what it was promoted and hyped to be and what it should have been on paper. An absolutely atrocious set back the sport night back-to-back for the sport of boxing. It was fucking terrible. To excuse my French. It was fucking terrible. Terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Horrible. We did get Canelo and Bud out of this, I guess. Even though Canelo's not prime Canelo anymore, Bud's going to be going up 2 weight classes at 40. I mean, Bud is Bud, but, I don't know. We'll see, but, it's a fight they've been cooking up for a while. Probably the last big money match for both of those before they ride off into the sun. So, we'll see what happens there, but Canelo vs. Bud should be interesting at least. But, Fatal Fury, I'm not buying that stupid game, and I'm not buying the hype of any of these fighters anymore. UFC Des Monies was much, much more interesting and much better and much more example of the beautiful, beautiful, beautiful art of combat sports. Okay? Honestly. Corey Sandhagen put on a world-class performance. A performance you would expect a great contender, in their division, one of the best in the world to put on, unlike, what we saw from the 3 Princes of Boxing. Put a performance on former world champion Devison Figueiredo. Just demolished Figgy, beat him on strikes, just beat him down, broke him down. It was great. All right, it was great, great stuff. The Sandman is real. All right, the man, he deserves another title shot. All right, give him another title shot. He ready. All right, he ready, and maybe just one day Corey can beat that, or will he? I'm split on him becoming that guy who finally gets that title, or if he's just gonna be one of those guys that just, unfortunately born in the wrong time and is just unable to break through that glass ceiling. So we'll see. But the Sandman put on a hell of a performance here. RDR, y'all must have forgot. Honestly, I should have put money down on this. I've been out of sports betting for a minute. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I should have put money on this. Okay, Bo Nickel got humbled. Boy, did he get humbled with a knee A beautiful, beautiful knee, because I don't know why, and I don't know if it was arrogance or inexperience that made him grapple with RDR. But it didn't work. And RDR knocked his ass out. Okay? RDR knocked him out. The Bo Nickel hype train went pew throughout this entire fight. It was not really close. And yeah, he smokes him in round 2. That's all she wrote. Back to the drawing board for Bo Nickel. His athleticism, the lack of athleticism finally caught up to him. Grappling caught up to him. You're not you're a great wrestler, an elite wrestler. You're a world-class wrestler, but I don't know if you're a world-class grappler yet. You know, you went in the ring with the world-class grappler, and he showed you what happens. And RDR is a real prospect, all right, and not really a prospect. He's a real contender, should I say? And yeah, he needs some more respect, and I think he earned it by ending the hype train. Dana's going to be very, very upset, but Bo got exposed a while ago, I felt, so we'll see. Now maybe Bo Nickel takes this adversity and he builds, and he gets a little bit better and slowly builds himself to being an actual contender. Or maybe this is, where the arrogance in the brain just kind of goes and he falls off the face of the earth. We will see, but yeah, RDR does what, I expected and should put money on. Next week, we do have UFC 315. Not one of the strongest cards of the year, but you know what? Who knows? Bilal versus JDM I honestly don't know. Maybe it'll be interesting. I'm expecting a decision because Bilal's the king of decisions, but he is welterweight champ for a reason, and JDM did earn this shot. So we will see. All right, we will see. And then we got Val versus Farad. At this stage of Val's career, I'm just taking every contender as, maybe they're the person. Because it's going to happen. Maybe it's Farad, maybe it's not. But, very rarely do these legends go out on top. And Val, she's got her title back and everything. But, it's going to be somebody unexpected. So I won't rule her out. Val should be the favorite. She's one of the greatest of all time. But maybe Farad's the one. We'll see. But, yeah, Canada gets another PPV. UFC 315. We'll talk about it next week. Now, let's talk about some hockey, shall we? Let's talk about some hockey. Vegas and Minnesota went to 6. I went to 6 before Vegas took care of them. 3-2. Mark Stone gets a goal and assist in this game. He was big time. All right, Stone was big time. And Minnesota tried to fight back a little bit here, but just ran out of time. And Vegas was able to hold on strong. Did a really good performance here. Looked like the stronger team. All right, throughout, well-deserved. All right, well-deserved win to move on to the next round in the Western Conference. So, yeah, who would Vegas be playing, though? All right, it will be the Edmonton Oilers to answer the call. All right, Edmonton answer the call. Now, Kopi, once again, very similar to this Vegas-Minnesota Game 6, made it interesting at the end and was like, yo, maybe they're putting a little bit of pressure on. But unfortunately, just could not break that ceiling. Edmonton gets an empty netter at the end. I think it was Cody Ceci, and that was all she wrote. All right, offensive explosion in this one. Very high scoring, 6-4. And yeah, Oilers, McJesus, dry, move on, and take on Vegas. Having a generational talent, you gotta take advantage. All right, you gotta take advantage. Step 1 complete. All right, step 1 complete for Edmonton, but Vegas is a different beast. So we will see what happens. But Edmonton does get past round 1. Similar situation for Toronto with Austin Matthews, even though he wasn't necessarily dominating. It was really Willie Nylander and Mitch Marner who were cooking up here against Ottawa, and they do win. All right, I think the battle of not Alberta, but what is the battle? This is major rivalry, but major rivalry between the two Canadian teams. I'm blanking on the name. I'm so sorry. But Maple Leafs do get the win here. All right, 4-2. Once again, also in Game 6. Brady Tkachuk saw had to answer a lot of questions. A lot of people have been kind of swirling about Brady leaving Ottawa. Doesn't sound like he wants to leave Ottawa, to be honest. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't think he's gonna be moved anywhere unless Ottawa gets like a crazy offer. Because, Brady seems like he's happy to try to build something with the Sens. So we'll see. But the Maple Leafs, they needed this. Nylander in this game, he was huge. 2 goals and an assist. Max with 1 goal, 1 assist patches. So good stuff there. All right, good stuff there for Toronto. They move on. One of the 2 Canadian teams moving on here in the Western Conference. Which Florida team would they be facing, though? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Or excuse me, they will be facing the winner of Winnipeg and St. Louis. Yes, which is Game 7 tonight. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I said it last week, which again, glad to be right. I'm glad to be right about this, going to 7. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel like this really feels like a series that is kind of like a 50-50 in a way. And it can kind of just kind of go either way. So we'll see. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I can't pick. Jordan Bennington gotta stop getting, easy. I mean, not Bennington, but Connor Hellbuck needs to lock in. I will say that. Hellbuck needs to lock in because it's been humiliating. Him getting pulled in back-to-back games is crazy. For the heights that he was, for him to play this bad in the playoffs, yeah, he's got to lock in. If he has another one of them games, St. Louis got it, and they're going to pull off the upset. But yeah, if he can lock in and play like the Connor Hellbuck we saw most of the year, then the Jets, have a chance of making it out here and taking on, Toronto in that next round. But we'll see. All right, we'll see. No guarantees here, of course. Let's talk about the East, though. All right, let's talk about the East. Toronto, or who's taking on Toronto? Excuse me. Florida, Tampa Bay, Battle of Florida. Florida, defending champs, they get it done. They advance. It was, touch and go at first. We talked about it last week. But Panthers dominated. All right, dominated. Lusternainen, 1 goal, 3 apples in this game, 4 points in this game. Dominant. If it wasn't for what Mikko Rantanen did, we'd probably be talking a little bit more about what he did in this game. Brad had 2 goals as well. So, yeah, good stuff. Handle business. Florida advances in 5. All right, they were not the only ones here in the East. Capitals also took care of the Canadians in 5. Yeah, first time they've advanced past the first round in 7 years. All right, it's been a long 7 years for the Caps, but they do advance past that first round. They will be taking on the Carolina Hurricanes, who took care of the New Jersey Devils. Also in 5, this one went to 2 overtimes before Sebastian Aho completed a masterful game. 3 points in this game. He had 2 goals as well. So, yeah, 5-4. New Jersey really fought back in those last 2 games, so I got to give credit where credit's due. All right, they said they were going out on a shield. They went out on a shield, so gotta give some love. However, I'm very happy about my Canes advancing. And yeah, moving on to that next round, Washington will be very, very, very interesting. Yes, Dallas and Colorado is what this entire segment has been building to, honestly. All right, is what's had me discombobulated on my notes and all of it, because this is the only thing really. I'm going to be honest. Besides, the Aho game and everybody else advancing, But this was the big story. All right, out of the first round, maybe what happens tonight here in Game 7 between the Jets and the Blues. But, of course, you got Mikko Rantanen, traded from the Avs, taking on his old team here in the first round. It goes to 7. The Avs are up 2-0 going into the third period, and then just have an all-time collapse, and Mikko Rantanen has one of the greatest performances I have ever seen from one singular player in a Game 7 elimination game in any sport ever. One of the best. A hat trick, including the first 2 goals to kick us off. Assist the third goal to take the lead. Wyatt Johnson, what a steal he's been. And then with, pull the attacker, empty net. Dallas just loses their mind in American Airlines as Mikko gets the empty net to get the hat trick, hats flying everywhere. It was an epic moment to watch live because I thought the Stars were dead in the water. I thought they were dead in the water. I thought the Avs with McCarr, McKinnon, I thought they were going to mop this up. And then Mikko just said, no, I'm him. And as much as a Canes fan, it hurts to say, considering how he did us, he is him. All right, Mikko Rantanen let his nuts hang, proverbially, and just went off. One of the all-time performances. Honestly, just watch the third period of this game. Even if you're not a hockey fan, this might be the way to get you into hockey. Because Mikko Rantanen said, I'm a superstar. We're not losing this game. And they did not lose this game. And he carried Dallas over the hump here and takes out his old team. Sweet, sweet, sweet revenge. I guess revenge really is cold. All right, and now for entertainment. Yes. And we have movies to talk about once again. It's been a great time for that. But Thunderbolts came out, and ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you, all right, spoiler alert, all right, because we about to get real spoilerly, okay? Very, very, a whole lot of spoilers coming. All right? The feeling has been restored. I want to just come out and say the feeling has been restored in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, okay? I felt like I was at a Marvel, we are back. We are back. Believe the hype, ladies and gentlemen. We are back. Thunderbolts was great. All right, Thunderbolts was a great movie. It's up there with Sinners for me as my favorites I've seen this year, easily. All right, Florence Pugh. Her and Lewis Pullman were the driving vehicles for this entire movie. It was definitely still a team up movie, obviously an ensemble cast, but Yelena was definitely the protagonist, so to speak, the featured character here, and I think that was a great decision. It's a great decision to center the film around the character with the best actress or best actor. All right, and Florence Pugh is a powerhouse, and she really got to lead this film and kind of drive it, like I said, and I think it paid dividends for the overall quality of the film, having Florence be in that position to kill this. Stephen Young would have been, I'm sure, fine as Bob, or Sentry, should I say. But Lewis Pullman was definitely the right decision, in my opinion. He was also an incredible acting performance. All right, even besides the entertainment value, just an incredible acting performance. I honestly, as great as Stephen may have been, I can't imagine anybody else being Sentry or being Bob in this film besides Lewis Pullman. He was that good. Ghost, a lot more character. HJK did a great job as her. Red Guardian, perfect father-daughter relationship displayed here from him and Yelena. But he added a lot of emotional weight, and of course David Harbour brought some great comedy to this film. Bucky was him. That one scene where he goes and finds the Thunderbolts. That was dope. That was very Terminator-esque, but yeah, showing off Bucky's skills. And then Val was an absolute piece of she was just a terrible person. But wow, I gotta respect how she got out of that at the end. I gotta respect with the media showing up. That was a great like Chekhov's gun of the media showing up, and then they go past the tunnel, and then she's like, "Oh, these are the new Avengers," which of course, as they're now rolling out, so I can say this. Is the actual title for this film. So yeah, we have the new Avengers. Interesting, of course, the setup there for the Fantastic Four. It's going to be absolutely hilarious that the Richards family is first meeting with anybody on Earth might be with Red Guardian, which it's just incredible, absolutely incredible cinema. Honestly, cinema. So yeah, Thunderbolts, so good. Florence Pugh, great in this. Honestly, I would beat Depression for Florence as well. But so yeah, I don't blame Bob. But yeah, and I think that was a really well done story, by the way, on mental health and depression. Very great way to do that kind of underlying story. Even though it's not really underlying, but I think they did a really good job handling that and just kind of making the Sentry and the Void two faces of that. It was great. All right. Such a good movie. Go watch it. Thunderbolts. Super duper cosign. All right. DDG, hop back into streaming and hop back in his music bag. And listen, I'm going to pay some respect right now. I'm going to pay some respect to DDG. Not going to give out an album rating because I want to go through these before I give like an official rating here for both of these, this and Glockavelli. But Blame the Chap, very good album in my opinion. Very good album. Very, very good. I think it sits in probably the 8s for me. Alright, probably in the 8s somewhere when all is said and done. I think Bankroll and then GTA feats Skilla, Skilla, were my two favorites. Besides Fine Shit. Alright? Besides Fine Shit with Bia, that is such a that I can't get hyped when that if that song comes on, I just can't help it. I can't help it. I'm sorry. Such a great tune, and they made that on stream. But yeah, Blame the Chat, good stuff. DDG is getting better. He's getting better. I'm here to say it. DDG is getting better. Pay him some respect as a rapper. All right, because this is a good project. This is a very, very good project. So yeah, I was impressed. Glockavelli. Let's see. Self and Watch the Throne, probably my favorite. Yeah, Glockavelli, the song, and then Watch the Throne, probably my two favorites, my two standouts. To be altered over time. I think this was where I started kind of getting old of Key Glock in a way. Not that this was a bad album by any means. It wasn't my favorite Key Glock album. And it wasn't a bad album. It was probably sitting like the 7s, high 7s for me. But it's just the same. It's what you know what you're coming to get with Key Glock. I feel like you know what to expect. And it just felt like a whole album of it at this point. I was like, okay. he's not really saying nothing else, you know? He's not really saying nothing else. The beats aren't too much altered from what we've heard before. It was nothing that really felt too new, and I think he was lacking that evolution, kind of as an artist that you like to see, or that variety. It was just kind of, this is what you come to expect with Key Glock, and it was a Key Glock album. So, yeah, it was nothing crazy, nothing special. Some good stuff, obviously, because he's a good artist, a good rapper, but nothing too groundbreaking with Glockavelli. Like I said, it would send the sevens for me, but nothing bad. All right, nothing bad. It would still, make the playlist, have plenty of songs there, but yeah, not the craziest I've ever been about a Key Glock album. And yeah, I'll just leave it at that. All right, I'll leave it at that. And with that said, we've reached the main event of the evening, and it is the NBA. So let's talk about it. All right, let's talk about it. First off, with what happened yesterday, Game 7, Denver and the Clippers. Is it going to be Joker or is it going to be the Unks? And it's going to be Joker. It's going to be Joker. And honestly, very early in this game, we realized, honestly, about as early as we realized the Fever were going to beat Brazil today during that preseason game, we realized the Nuggets were going to be the Clippers here. Yeah, and it wasn't even Joker. He had a very calm, Aaron Gordon had 22, Christian Braun, they really led the team. And everybody in the starting lineup had plus over 15 points. Everybody in the Nuggets starting lineup had over 15 points in this game. However, James Harden. I saw somebody tweet out, and unfortunately I just feel like it might just be true. James Harden's going to get you to the playoffs. Whatever happens after that is up to you. He can get you to the dance. He just can't do nothing once the dance. When the lights are getting bright, he takes a step back. And unfortunately, it's true. As much as I hate to say it, Harden had a great, great year. Had some good moments in this series. But when his team needed him most, like the Avatar, he disappeared. All right, 7 points for James Harden in this game. And yeah, the Unks are done. All right, the Unks are done. The Clippers, it's over. It's over. It's over. Kawhi is not, it's over. All right, it's over. Honestly, my suggestion is blow the team up. The West is always going to be wicked, so blow it up. Rebuild. You got some good draft classes coming. Blow this thing up. All right? Blow this team up is what I would tell Steve Ballmer, who's a great owner. Blow it up. All right? The experiment is over. It's not happening. All right? It's not happening. Nuggets take care of them. They get OKC next. Godspeed. Okay, that's all I can say. Godspeed to the Nuggets. Okay, Godspeed, because they've got some holes, and OKC, pause, will definitely exploit them. Pause. Minnesota and LA. I told you so. I'm sorry, y'all. I told y'all. I tried to tell y'all, man. I told y'all what was going to go down here. Wolves in 5. I'm not doing this as the feature clip again because I feel like I've gotten the point across, but I told y'all. The Lakers, it was going to come back to haunt them. That Mark Williams trade not going through. And boy, did it. Because Rudy Gobert had the best playoff performance of his career here in Game 5. And had a terrible game. I'm not going to lie. Ant was getting all the headlines because he was talking crazy after the game. But Ant was honestly relatively garbage in this game. To be honest. Ant was garbage. He did nothing. There was honestly a couple games in this series, besides when he went off last week when we talked about it, he did relatively nothing or shot relatively awfully in this game. And he's getting none of the flack for it. None of the flack because they handle business. But Ant was relatively garbage at certain points and aspects throughout the series. However, the Minnesota Timberwolves, just plain and simple, are a better team than the Los Angeles Lakers. They're a deeper team. They're a better managed team, with all due respect to JJ. They're just a better team. That's on the Lakers roster composition. All right? Not even as much on JJ. Even though JJ is a rookie head coach, could have done some things better. But the Lakers just have nothing. All right? They got nothing. Unfortunately. They got nothing. Hate to say it, okay? 103-96. Rudy goes for 27 and 24 in this game. Good gracious. Luka started at 28, 7 and 9. Not his most efficient night. Rui played well. He had 23. Braun did some Braun things, but he also was injured in this game, as we found out after. So, yeah. Also, crazy thing is that Braun has never missed a playoff game. So he would have had to miss game 6, which means the Lakers would have lost anyway. But yeah, still crazy stat to point out about Braun. I'm going to be honest with y'all. All right, I think we got one more year. I think this next year is the last one. With just the way the Lakers are training and just them kind of proving that they're focused on building around Luka for the future. I really think this upcoming year, 23, I think it'll be, which is very fitting, of course. I think that'll be the last one for Bron. I think there's not going to be a chase for Jordan's record. No, it's just, I think this is it. Honestly. All right. Favorite player of all time. I love him to death, but I think this is it. I think his body, I think this is a good place where, his play is still very high and he can be a top 10 player on every given night. Where he can just walk off with some grace and it can, be proper the way he deserves to go out. So, yeah, I think this is it. I think this is it. And I don't know about the Lakers championship hopes next year, to be honest with you. Winner of this game, the Timberwolves await the winner of this Houston Golden State game. I like their chances against either one of them. I'm going to be honest. I like their chances. Tonight, I'm going to be honest with you. I told the group chat this. We're getting one of two options. Either playoff Jimmy and Chef Curry are about to go ballistic in Houston, or Jalen Green is going to have that game where JG all of a sudden remembers, oh, I'm Jalen Green. I'm going to go for 40. Like, that's the only two options we got here. Either playoff Jimmy Butler and Chef Curry are about to avenge his son's sorrows, or Jalen Green is going to have one of those games that thinks you make just maybe a little bit more time, a little bit more consistency, and he'll figure it out. It's just one of the two. All right, but either way, I got Minnesota wiping whoever's next down and advancing to Western Conference Finals. But we'll talk about all that when we get to that. All right, the Indiana Pacers take out the Milwaukee Bucks in overtime in one of the best games. All right, drama. This was a playoff game. All right, when we talk about NBA playoffs, this is what we here for. All right, spice, good hoops, all of it. All right, and we're going to talk about that with the next two series, honestly, in the Eastern Conference. But Pacers take care of the Bucks here in Game 5. Haliburton with the game winner. It was pretty. All right, it was pretty. Gorgeous. And it was a shame. Gary Trent Jr. played a hell of a game. 33 points, 8 threes in this game. He was huge. He wanted this. That turnover was deadly, however, and then Tyrese just took it down, took it on Giannis, who had a monster game. 30, 20, and 13 is an insane 2K stat line. All right, that is a my career stat line in the playoffs for Giannis. But yeah, Holly, I said at the beginning of the series, I said Tyrese Haliburton needs to decide who he wants to be. Is he a superstar or is he just a guy? And he decided that he was a superstar in the making. I'm not going to give him the superstar label yet. Absolutely a star, though. But yeah, Holly decided who he wanted to be in the series. I saw a lot of growth, especially in this Game 5. And he showed up. Now his pops acted a fool. I don't know what that was about. He got himself banned from the arena. But I digress. All right, it was a great day for Holly. He showed up when it mattered and proved that, listen, y'all can talk about that overrated stuff and all that, but I am Tyrese Haliburton. I'm one of them. All right, I'm one of them. Statement made. All right. Giannis, is he staying in Milwaukee? I don't know. I don't have the answer to that question. I'm going to be honest. We going to see. All right, that's the best I can say is we going to see. I've never really thought he was going to leave Milwaukee, but where there's smoke, sometimes there's fire. So we'll see. I'm sure every team that needs anybody will be, Lakers fans, will be, doing jersey swaps all off season. So yeah, we'll see what happens there. But Indy takes care of business. They go into the next round where they will take on the New York Knicks. The New York Knicks. The New York Knicks. Just kidding. They're taking on Cleveland. But we are going to talk about the New York Knicks. All right, 116 and 113 because Jalen Brunson is a bad man. He's the king of he's the co-king of New York. He's the king of basketball in New York, right? Aaron Judge is doing some crazy right now that we're going to talk about in the roundup. But for all intents and purposes, Jalen Brunson, excuse me. Definitely not Jalen Green. But Jalen Brunson, king of New York. All right, king of New York. And he proved why in this series. All right, this felt like one of those level series, okay? And especially here in Game 6, it just very much so felt like, yeah, Brunson decided, let me show you what a star looks like. A real star. A real superstar looks like. All right? This is why I'm the clutchest player in the league. That move he put on the SAR, I got up out my chair. I think I was on my bed. I got up out the bed. I said, oh my days. I had no question he was making that. No question. All right? Brunson, 40 ball in this game. Clutchest player in the league. No debate. Mikhail also did well in this game. He had 25. Now, Cade showed up in that fourth quarter. It was a little dusty, I'm not going to lie, the first three. But when it mattered, Cade was there. All right, for all intents and purposes, Cade was there. However, 0 for 8 and 3 in an elimination game is not going to cut it. But I got complete faith in Cade Cunningham becoming one of the premier players in the league. I'm not going to lie to you. Cade is one of them. All right. Rough go here, but Cade, I got full faith in Cade. All right, full faith. Malik Beasley was talking crazy on Twitter all series long just to turn the ball over at the end there is real humiliating. It's real humiliating, real humbling. All right, real humbling. Him talking about him being the best scorer or best shooter in the league. Just for that to happen, that was rough go of it. All right, rough go of it. He didn't play a bad game, but that turnover was a killer at the end. And Brunson, like I said, 40 ball, clutchest player in the game. No debate. All right, no debate. Shout out to the boy, King of New York. All right, King of New York. Boston and Orlando. I mean, JT came back with a vengeance. All right, I was worried about his hand. He said, "Listen, Ocho, we good. All right, we good. Don't even worry about it, bro." 35, 8, and 10. Took care of Orlando. That's all I really got to say about that. Of course, they get. Let me check that. All right, let me check that to see what's that. What's the scenario here in the Eastern Conference? Who's playing who? Cavs Pacers. All right, which is going on right now. So I was right. Okay, Cavs Pacers. Cavs taking on the Pacers, and then Knicks Boston will be kicking off tomorrow on Cinco de Mayo, Cinco de Drinko for if you celebrate. But that should be interesting. I fully expect Boston to take care of business there, but we'll see. And I expect Cleveland to take care of Indiana. Listen, I talked a lot about Holly, saying his praises, but Cleveland is a dangerous team. They are a very dangerous team. This is the best team they've had since the Braun years. So fully expect that Cavs Celtics conference finals, but we'll see. All right, it's the NBA playoffs. Anything can happen. We will see. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the roundup. All right, Miami Grand Prix F1. Quick shout out to Alex Below for cleaning up an IndyCar. Him and Dennis Hager are really just dominating IndyCar right now on their respective series. So I want to give them a shout out. Well, let's talk about F1. Let's talk about the Miami Grand Prix. It was an interesting week. Kimi Antonelli. Kimi becomes the youngest pole sitter in any format. All right. Took tops for the sprint race and then quickly got welcomed to F1. He had a lot better start here in the actual race, but listen, that McLaren is a rocket ship. McLaren have built a rocket ship. The same way we used to talk about that Red Bull. Yeah, no. McLaren has a literal rocket ship. They smoked everybody. When I saw how easily Lando was getting past George, I was like, oh, I'm seeing how this is going. As soon as they got past Max, it was done. It was over with. Gapping everybody. It got so bad they could have took another pit stop at the end of the race just for practice, which Max I remember doing once upon a time. And McLaren is getting towards that territory. Oscar, however, wins a fourth straight race and is in firm control of that championship. So it means as we go to Europe next. But easy work. Light work for McLaren here in Miami. I don't know if it was because both members of Blackpink showed up, Rose and Lisa, or what it is, or just what's going on. But, they were on one. All right, McLaren was on one this weekend. Lando, of course, won the sprint. Then Oscar, just another one, too. And, of course, in third is George. All right, I'm getting very used to Pia, Nor, Russ as the 1, 2, 3 as George just continues to be a model of consistency and easily slot into that third slot. Great job by great call by Mercedes. All right, still questionable with Kimi's kind of strategies so far, but they've been killing it with George. Very opportunistic, got out of front of Max, and Max didn't have the pace to get back in front of him. So, good stuff there. All right, business as usual, it seems, right now in F1 with, like I said, Pia, Nor, Russ, yet again. All right. Also in racing this week, of course, it was Kentucky Derby Day, and it was actually a very good Kentucky Derby, I will say. Rain, soaked track, all the mud, all the drama. In a very interesting, funny turn of events, Sovereignty beat out journalism, which feels very ironic with everything that's going on in the world today. But yes, Sovereignty closed well. All right, this race was all about the kickers. All right, all about the kickers. Bill Baffert's horse started off very hot. Set a very rapid pace to start off this race, but Came down to the kick. Sovereignty had the better kick, and got Bill Mott his first ever Kentucky Derby win. Well, I guess it's technically his second ever, but first one that he got to properly enjoy and win as trainer. The second one, of course, was delivered after the fact on a penalty. But yeah, Sovereignty will go to the Preakness and to the Belmont. Preakness first, of course, to see if they can make a run at that Triple Crown. But we'll see. All right, we'll see. Doesn't seem like there was a truly dominant horse. I'm not convinced on Sovereignty being that, but we'll see. All right, maybe at the Preakness we'll find out whether that is a special horse. I mean, winning the Kentucky Derby specializes. I'm in a high enough honor, but in terms of being that hollowed famed Triple Crown club, we will see. But I will say, cool facts, of course, which I feel like not really surprising with the way that kind of studs and horse breeding goes. But yeah, all of the horses were descendants of Secretariat. So cool little fun fact. But yeah, Triple Crown watch, we'll see. But Sovereignty does win the Kentucky Derby. MLB, Aaron Judge. I'm not even glazing at this point. He's just the best. I know, Shohei. I know. I gotta say it though. He's the best player in baseball. I'm sorry. He is. He's hitting 4. I think he went 1 for 5 today. So he's down to 428 or something. In May, still hitting over 400, while also being one off the lead in home runs and leading the league in RBIs. This dude is ridiculous. All right, he's in Triple Crown territory. He is just an offensive. He continues to get better somehow. Even at his age, just continues to get better. This is one of the best offensive peaks we have ever seen in the history of baseball, and we should not take this for granted. That is all I'm going to say. Aaron Judge, the premier offensive player of his time. That's it. Champions League semifinals. Let's talk about it. PSG is really going to do this. All right? I've joked about this and said this a little bit unironically at this point a couple times, but they're actually going to do this. Yes. No, this is actually happening. PSG 1-0's Arsenal. Dembele scored in the 4th minute and then just held the fort down. I'm serious, bro. PSG is really about to do this. They are really about to do this. If they win the Champions League the year after Mbappe leaves, that would be a reasonable crash out from Kylian. That would be a reasonable crash out. If y'all finally built a team around me, or built a team that I should have had around me the year after I finally leave, I would be sick. Honestly, I would be sick, and it'd be justified. It'd be a justifiable crash out. But PSG put themselves in good position here. However, it's only 1-0, so that's not enough. Oftentimes here in the Champions League, that's not enough. They're going to have to get it done here in the second leg. But we'll see. All right, they've been flying. Luis Enrique, again, cooking up. Barca and Inter had one of the best matches we've probably seen in the Champions League, maybe ever. Honestly, it was that good, at least in the first half. It was that good. They finishes 3-3. They were going band for band. Durman scores in like literal seconds of the game. Denzel Dumfries is pulling out bicycle kicks. It was ridiculous. Lamine Yamal looking like Clarence Day, the best youngster we've seen in some time. Ben for Ben. It was a great match. All right, a great match. As a neutral, it was a great match. Probably a little bit stressful, especially with Barca going down 2-0. But then realizing you had Lamine Yamal probably made everything feel a little bit better. All right. All I gotta say is just don't run him into the ground. All right. Pedri was able to beat the allegations. He's back to being, quite possibly the best midfielder in the world today. But yeah, do not run Yamal into the ground. I know a big thing was, he had 100 appearances and look at everything he's done. But do not run him into the ground at, 17, 18 now? I think he's 18 now. Do not run this dude into the ground. He is special. Special. He can be the best player in the world one day. I know a lot of people are saying he is the best player in the world right now, and maybe he is on form. But I can't give him that yet. I'm not going to give him that yet. But he can be. Very, very soon, at the rate he's developing, can be the best player in the world. He has that type of talent. He's a generational guy. So, yeah, just do not run this. For football fans around the world that are not in Madrid, do not run this dude into the ground. Please, I'm begging you, Barca, because you're well on the way to doing that. But Yamal, special performance, but Inter was very much so game. We will see what happens in what should be a very exciting second leg between Barca and Inter to see who's going to that UCL final. But ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we have reached the end of episode 248. Without further ado, Ocho signing off.